So this is actually my own post, but there's a million of people commenting. I would say 99.9% of it negatively on this policy that was released 2 days ago now, I believe. But let's see, Amazon sellers. This isn't greater transparency. It's theft in disguise. Amazon's new policy to reimburse sellers for lost or damaged inventory based on manufacturing costs rather than the sales price is a direct blow to seller profits. Sellers are now forced to input their COGS, opening the door for lowball reimbursements while ignoring additional costs like shipping, labor, and lost sales opportunities. It highlights that this move unfairly penalizes sellers for Amazon's warehouse mistakes and disguises a fee increase under the pretense of greater transparency. Sellers are urged to speak out against this policy, which threatens fair compensation and sets a troubling precedent for the future. So essentially, Amazon, come March here, is going to try to force people to input their COGS and reimburse you on your manufacturing cost rather than the retail sales price of the products. So you're going to be losing all of that shipping, all of those tariffs that you had to pay, all of that labor cost, all of those missed opportunity costs if your products go out of stock because Amazon lost them or damaged them, whatever the case may be. I think this is a very big policy update that Amazon kind of tried to sneak in after saying we're not going to increase any fees in 2025.
Yeah. What was
should we?
Yeah, go ahead, Mina.
Should we blame Getita for doing too good of a job?
That could be part of it.
Could be.
Definitely not blaming them for getting people money, but that probably had an effect, I'm sure, on Amazon's pocketbook anyways.
Leslie, what's the name of that tool that they were promoting free access to at Accelerate? Do you remember the name of it? Is it vQuote?
I do not remember the name of the tool, but what I do know is that reimbursement companies have been helping private label sellers to essentially automatically create bills of lading, and so that the reimbursement company could very easily submit documentation proving that the value of a lost shipment. And I think Amazon doesn't like that because what they count on is what we deal with clients every day. We have clients, because we do reimbursements. So a client sends an inbound shipment, it's not received. So we ask the client, hey, give us invoices, hey, give us invoices, hey, give us invoices. And they don't have time, they can't find it, whatever the situation is. And so they lose out on that reimbursement. And y'all, these aren't just like onesie twosie sellers. These are brands and large sellers who it leaves us just scratching our heads, honestly, because sometimes you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars that they're leaving on the table. Well, if we have this service we can offer where we're essentially able to generate the document for you, then suddenly Amazon is paying out a whole lot more, which they should do because they are the 3PL. So essentially, they want all the fees you get as a 3PL with none of the responsibility of being a 3PL, because there's no 3PL out in the marketplace that loses your stuff and then it's like, because then they lose your business forever, right? So Todd, I thought your social posts were so spot on with this. And my partner, Joe, gave me such a great example. He said that last week, so trucking costs right now are through the roof, right? So last week, if you needed a truck, you were going to pay $4,500 for a truck. Whereas, rest of the year, you might pay $300, $500, $700. You're going to pay $4,500 for this truck he got a quote on. And so he could have, say, hired that truck, shipped all the goods. Someone had to prep it, pack it. He had to pay shipping from his factory to where it landed, right? And then now he's paying the $4,500 to get it to Amazon. It gets to Amazon, they lose it. How much did he lose? Forget that they want to reimburse the cost of goods, but as you mentioned, you're paying the tariffs and the import fees. You're paying $4,500 for the truck, all the labor, the inbound shipping that he already paid once because he's breaking shipments to multiple places, right? It's absolutely insane that they think a seller should eat all of this, because here's the part where it's theft. And that's why I love that Todd used the word theft, because no one ever wants to do that. And it is because Amazon, they have this stuff. It didn't disappear. It
Right.
didn't walk away. It didn't go poof. It's somewhere in their warehouse. So at some point, one of two things happens. Three things, actually. One of three things happens. Either they credit the inventory back to your account and take back the money. We've all had that happen to us.
Yep.
Or number two, they sell it themselves. Or number three, they liquidate it out of their warehouse.
Which
So,
ends up back there anyhow.
yes. So when they sell it themselves, they are making all that margin on the free inventory that just fell in their lap, that they paid you your cost of goods. They didn't have to do any of the sourcing, shipping, or anything else. So yes, it's theft. I'll shut up now. Sorry, I could rant on this forever.
I have a question, guys, and I don't know the answer. What happens when this happens with another 3PL? So ShipBob or whatever, one of these other 3PLs, you send the inventory there. What happens if they lose 100 units? Like, do you guys know? I don't know, but I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah,
like
I don't know either.
Because I know that they might not have a policy that's like, oh, well, do you have to go through insurance? Do you have to sue them? Because probably, I mean, that'll give us maybe a little bit of a direction of, like, if Amazon says, I'm only going to pay you COGS and none of the damages, then maybe this is the time for attorneys to come in and say, hey, this is your mistake. This is losses like that we would not have incurred. And then there's an insurance policy, and that, also will cover like that plus the legal fees. And then there's, Amazon will have to pay that back. I don't know, but that's probably, I mean, if I were to guess, I would love to, ask someone who's been through the 3PL kind of situation where, hey, this 3PL lost me money. Because if we're going to have to depend on like a negative review in Google and saying, I'm going to leave you a negative review in Google for losing my stuff, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And I have questions about things like, the inventory placement fee, it's actually assessed as part of your inbound shipping. So like when you do the buy shipping thing for an inbound shipment, the inventory placement fee is in there. So then if they lose your stuff, do they credit you back that fee? Or do you
Probably
just
not.
eat that too? Right. So that's where it comes into being theft, because they didn't actually do anything to get that fee. That's the kind of stuff that it's always in the details. And the other thing that really irks me is the way they wrote it was like, this is a benefit to you.
Yeah.